obviously, we can open it up for questions and, just kind of jump right into things here after the program's been on pause for here, just, a little over a week after our positive test last Friday in California.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to start off by passing along our condolences to Jimmy Collins, his family and friends. Obviously, that was horrible news for everybody that knew Coach Collins. Lots of Aggie fans grew up, watching him play in the heyday of Aggie basketball. And, for me personally, I didn't know him on a personal level prior to being here, and then having to spend quality time with him on a couple of his return visits to Las Cruces. What a neat man. What a personality, and really enjoyed my time with him. Our guys enjoyed being around him. He always addressed the team when he was back, and we were all pretty saddened to hear the news, and our thoughts and prayers are definitely with his family as they grieve his passing. So we feel bad for what they're going through.
I guess this is the second time, a guy from that 70 team has passed away this year. You talked about Lou Henson earlier in the year, but I guess just, how important, obviously the importance of them is large, but to you, just as a guy who's been around just for, 3 or 4 years at New Mexico State, how much importance does that 1970 team have to you in terms of just relaying to your guys, what they did in terms of laying kind of the groundwork for New Mexico State basketball?
Well, I think it's important to help educate our current players on the history of this program. And Mario and his people have done such a good job since I've been here of trying to honor those folks and bring them back and give them the opportunity to be cheered again. When you get through playing, I'm sure not having the fans, et cetera, is a different feeling for those players, and for what they've done for this program to bring them back and shower them with applause and appreciation, which our fans obviously get and do, I think has been awesome. And every time we're around a ex-Aggie on the road home, we try to get them, in our circle, if you will, and have them talk to the team about their experiences and what they've learned. Trying to, hear it from former players that have been through what they're going through. And I love being a small part in that. And the guys that we've asked to do that have been awesome. And for me, just to feel more closer to the program with having met and talked with past coaches and players, is a special part of being the head coach here.
What's kind of the status of your team as it stands right now? Is there a plan for getting back to work out soon?
Yeah, I hope so. I think everyone knew we had a positive. This is why the reason we came back from Santa Cruz over a week ago. And in our testing after the positive, we found another positive in our tier 1 group. So those people, the positive cases, and obviously their contact tracing people were in isolation immediately. And we've been on pause ever since. And we're going through testing again now to hopefully get back on the court, here in a few days.
Coach, is probably the least of your worries because of all of that going on, but have you added more teams and or are you looking to get any more games, or is it pretty much set what you got?
Well, we don't have any games scheduled other than the WAC regular season games, which don't begin until January 8th. And just think about it for a second. Like, it's nearly not impossible, but it's very difficult for us to schedule games because, one, we need to get a few practices under our belt. We can't throw our kids on the floor and not practice for 10 days or 11 days and expect them to, compete. That would be a bad situation for them and for us. And then secondly, we don't have a home court. So it's
Right.
difficult to tell people, hey, we can play here, but we got to find a place to play. And then we don't know when we're going to be ready to play. So we're having discussions with potential opponents. But until we get back on the court and have a better feel of when a potential game date would be, we're not writing any contracts. We're not signing any contracts. We can't.
Right.
It's just a difficult situation. So, but we're definitely talking to people and doing what if scenarios with a lot of people, which, is par for the course for everybody in the country right now, for the most part. Every day you wake up, and if you check different social media accounts, there's a handful of folks across the country that are going on pause or shutting down, whatever word you want to use. And so it just is what it is. And we're definitely going to attempt to play more games before January 8th. We don't know who that's going to be against, and we surely don't know when or where yet either.
Hey, Chris, what does a pause actually mean, especially when you're relocated? I mean, are finals over? I mean, I guess I don't know exactly what you guys are kind of doing throughout the day.
The highlights of my day are when I get the text that lunch and dinner are here, and I don't want anyone to tell me what the menu is. Like, seriously, like if they tell me what we're having for lunch or dinner, I get a little annoyed with them, because that's what I look forward to. Like it's Christmas and I get to see what we're going to eat that day. And when that text goes off, and it's going to be going off here pretty shortly, the dinner bell's rung, and I run down there and make sure to get my helping before the guys take it all. So eating's probably the highlight of the day right now, to be honest with you. Drinking coffee is my second favorite pastime right now. And, complaining with our other coaches a little bit. There's some of that. I've learned how to play Connect 4. I've never played that game before. I'm better than I thought. We've had some competitive games amongst our coaches, to say the least. So we don't do much, Jeff. We don't do much. It is what it is. And, it'll definitely be a long chapter in the book someday. But we don't have any formal workouts, as a team. We meet via Zoom, every other day at least, to, our best way to touch them, I guess, to make sure everybody's good. It's just a waiting process right now.
And I know down the road, people are going to have to revisit this whole season for everybody, football and basketball, and what you guys are all going through. You guys are in a very unique spot where you're now going through a pause and not even at home to do it. It's probably too early to really know the macro, the big picture of what your reaction to all this is going to be. But I mean, do you have any thoughts now that you didn't when you first went to Phoenix about, is this what we should be doing? I mean, I imagine you guys are still happy to be having the opportunity to play, but what people are going through now, they're kind of learning as they go. Any second thoughts about, going out there at this point?
I don't have any second thoughts about relocating our team. I still think that giving these young men an opportunity to do what they love and keeping them together for their mental health, because that's an underlying current that every coach in America is addressing and keeping close tabs on, and we're no different. Certainly it's popped the balloon a little bit, to be put on pause. And you got to understand, like, we call this a bubble, but like, it isn't like the hotel is closed. I mean, they have other guests that are staying here, and at different times there's more than more on the weekend usually. But the positives are it's really spread out, and you've all stayed at resorts. It's not a hotel where there's the lobbies congregated. There's lots of buildings on this campus, and it's real easy to avoid people. It's not difficult at all. And our group is in a square on the first floor with just us. So but it's not a true bubble. When we go play, and that's been another difficult situation, is we can't control the environments when we go play places. We try to do the best we can leading up to the game, but we don't have a bunch of feet on the ground at the arenas of controlling the environments. And picking and choosing when we play and what the surroundings look like and, what the other teams are doing. And so, I was shocked when we got our first positive because I'm around these guys every day. And I'm befuddled on how we contracted it. I don't understand it. And just from all the testing that we've done and talking to colleagues, I still think, I know the scientists and the medical folks are, getting a handle on it and vaccines are coming and all that, but how this thing moves around and how it's transmitted, to me, it's still an unknown in my opinion. I think we'll know years from now. But I don't have second thoughts about what we're doing, but I understand other coaches in America are voicing their second thoughts and I understand why. It's an unreal situation and, unfortunately it's hit us and we're having to deal with it.
Has what happened at Florida? I know you just said you don't have second thoughts, but with Florida, with the kid collapsing on the floor, and I don't want to speculate too much because I know they say he had COVID, but you don't want to speculate too much that it could be related. But have you guys discussed that at all? Has it come up at all in conversations over the last couple of days as a potential, cause for concern or anything?
Well, anytime, a student athlete has any issues or collapses on the court, that will cause concern, regardless if you're in a coronavirus year or not. And as coaches, we've definitely talked about that situation and wait to hear, I guess, when you hear, what they release in terms of why that happened. And maybe you have information that I don't, but I haven't heard from their camp of the reasoning behind why. Have they released that information yet? Have you heard anything from Florida?
No, that's why that's why I prefaced it. I don't want to speculate and, say it's related and,
if then, you need to put a white coat on and start being an MD because I don't know. But like I said, of course, right. You're human. We're all humans and you're going to talk about it. You're going to be concerned about it. Certainly for him and their program and their family and, his future. And then on top of that, did that have anything to do with it? And certainly I'm hopeful that they're trying to figure out what the cause was. So, they can relay that to everybody else.
Chris,
Coach,
it seems
players.
Sorry, Lou. It seems like the WAC is looking to expand 4 to 5 more teams. We heard that last week. Some good clubs being included in that. What was your reaction when you heard the news that ultimately this conference, which is already has some really good basketball teams, has a chance to be that much better here in the future?
I think from a 10,000-foot view, it definitely would provide some stability to the league. That's probably been in question recently with the recent defections. I don't have a lot of conversations with the powers to be about those type of situations, but it would seem to me that there would be a push, for football. And again, I'm more of a layman talking about these type of things. I'm not the source of information when it comes to why and what their plan is, but I would, it seems to me that would be a reason why they would do it. Certainly it would add some quality basketball programs. I don't know about the other sports that they have and how good they are. I just know about their basketball programs that would potentially be added, and it would strengthen our league. It would provide stability to our league. It certainly would make it more difficult to win WAC championships, win tournament championships, regular season championships. But I think it would provide a lot of positives for everybody going forward. Lou, do you have a question?
Yeah, Coach, how are your players holding up, with their attitudes? And, just give us a sense of, are some guys turning into guys who are all of a sudden funnier guys because they, you get to spend more time around them outside of a basketball setting? Has the attitude of the team changed at all, for the good, for the bad?
I wouldn't say it's like we're just brimming with confidence right now. I think that would be impossible for what we're going through. You know, I'd be lying to you if I said everybody's walking around with a big smile on their face and just overjoyed about where we're at as a program and where they're at individually. And because, you know, what they love to do when their passion has been taken away from them temporarily. And, you know, if you just add it all up, relocation, you know, off and on in practice, being shut down again and not being able to even practice. I mean, they were tired of practicing anyway, and we hadn't practiced as long as we normally do. But when they see other teams start playing games, and they want to play too, and you know, I do too. I mean, I wanted to play as well. So they're hanging in there. You know, we got good guys, we got tough kids. They're resilient. You know, they understand what's going on out there. We educate them to the best of our ability, and certainly are making sure they're okay, and trying to, you know, get them to understand that, you know, there's better days ahead, and this will pass, and we've got to stick together. And but it's difficult. It's difficult, and you know, guys are we're all finding ways just to get to the next day. I mean, I swear, other than this, I know it's a Monday, but most days I couldn't tell you what day of the week it was or what the date was. And other than lunch and dinner, that kind of keeps me grounded on where we're at in the part of the day.
Right.
Kind of piggybacking on Lou's question a moment ago, do you see yourself as kind of like the team psychiatrist in addition to being a basketball mind? Are you now needing to ultimately help counsel some of these guys off the court?
Yeah, for sure. But I've been saying that for decades, that young coaches, if they wanted to be better at their craft, they should take classes in that field or get degrees in that field, because that's what we do. I mean, that's really what we do is, you know, try to help them there in a positive way as best we can. And then if we need to, you know, help them get back to ground zero you know, internally, you know, if we can't do it, you know, obviously we try to get other people to help join the cause. But, you know, our staff, I've said this a million times, and I just wouldn't bring it up if I didn't believe in it. But I'm blessed because I got some dudes on my staff that are smart and have experience at all different levels and love what they do. And they're phenomenal with relationships with our players. And it's just, I'm lucky. And for what we're going through, I mean, that's a big key right now to, like you said, to just make sure that we're all good, man. You know, that we all are understanding the big picture. You know, I've said that many times in the last few weeks. You know, we got to look at the big picture here. There's worse things going on out there than what we're going through. And so we've got to keep that in perspective as best we can as we, you know, try to get to the next day and hopefully the next phase of this very odd basketball season.
Speaking about the players, are there like, I guess, designated times throughout the day where they do like workouts in their room? Be obviously very limited, but are they doing stuff in their rooms, or is it just kind of everybody hanging out more or less?
Yeah, I mean, we just encourage them to, you know, the ones that can, to try to maintain a little bit, you know, go for a jog, you know, get some sprints in, you know, figure out a way to get a little strength training in. But certainly we're not doing anything formal. It's, you know, we've been through this before, and, you know, some guys will maintain, some won't. We'll find out where we're at when we get back on the court, but you know, they're kind of on their own in terms of trying to keep their rhythm or their feel of their body and their mind. But, you know, it's difficult. It's definitely a difficult situation.
Hey, Chris, I know all this is sort of repetitive at this point too, and you've been asked about scheduling and all that, but to make sure we cover our bases, I want to specifically ask about the rivalry games. Is there still conversation, still hope that there's a window? I don't know what the window would be, but is there any window that the UNM game would be played? I know UTEP's also a rivalry game. So any update you can give specifically to the rivalry games and any possibilities there?
I don't have any specific updates. Starting today and tomorrow, we'll probably be more aggressive than we have been in terms of trying to figure out potential days that will work for those type of games. And doesn't change my stance from day one that they're critical and important to our program, to our fan base, to theirs as well. I don't have a feel for exactly the importance, for other programs. I don't like to talk about those type of matters, but this pause has certainly made it more difficult because everybody's got to do their thing. Everybody's got to schedule their games, and you can't sit back and wait and hold dates going, well, if they get on pause, we can play them here. You can't work like that. And then conference play obviously is beginning. So it's more difficult, but a lot of it depends on teams that they're scheduled to play. And if both teams stay COVID free, that's kind of what's happening, right? When a team goes on pause, then everybody looks at that schedule and sees potential game opportunities, and people are calling those teams that are losing games, and we're no different. And in terms of those specific traditional rivalry games that we played, the windows get smaller, obviously, the deeper we get into the season, but we'll have more specific talks with those guys in the next couple of days to see where they're at, and certainly we'll update them where we're at, and see if it can happen.
Thanks.
Anything else for Coach this morning, guys?
Feel bad there's no basketball specific questions. I mean, is there any basketball you're watching?
Oh yeah, I'm watching a lot. I probably watch at least a game or two a day.
Is that more than normal? Like, I mean, I imagine when you're not on pause, you're busy.
I don't watch any basketball during the season. This is the first year I remember watching a full basketball game that it wasn't, a team we were about to play, or that's it. I mean, even buddies, like, they'll never see this, but I don't even watch their games. I may catch 5 minutes of one, and I may catch an end of one. I may monitor one if it's close. I may try to stream it or what have you. But I always feel like if I'm doing that during the season, I got too much time on my hands because I should be watching our team or some team we're about to play. And your guilty conscience, rules, I guess, a little bit that way. And but I've watched a lot of games. I've watched a lot of full games, and in your mind, you go back and forth. You start watching it like a fan, right? And then your scout hat goes on, and you look at it a little bit different, and that goes back and forth. But definitely, I've watched more basketball in the last few weeks than I have than I can remember in a long time.
I'm curious. I guess this is a slippery question, slippery slope to ask you this, but since fans are always watching you and watching your games, and you're now experiencing what all the fans are experiencing, maybe not for the first time, but kind of for the first time, you just said. I'm curious, as a fan, do you enjoy watching basketball? Are the commentators, do you like listening to commentators? Do you not like how many timeouts there are and commercial breaks and stuff like that? What do you, as a fan, notice now that you weren't noticing before because you weren't watching games like this? That's
another Zoom call to talk about the experience of watching a college basketball game that's produced for TV. That's another Zoom call. But overall, yeah, I enjoy watching the games. It's really weird sometimes because when I'm watching a friend or a colleague and it's close, like I'll get invested and I'll get nervous, which is a very odd feeling because I have no control over the outcome of the game whatsoever. But fortunately, I don't get that way when we're playing. But when I'm watching other teams and I'm invested in it emotionally, I start feeling a little bit, which is really odd, very weird. But I've noticed that. That's one thing that I've noticed more than anything, personally anyway. But yeah, I enjoy watching the games. Watching other people have some stressful situations, and just seeing how different people play. But you get all that, when you go through a scouting season and look at it from that perspective. So
that anxiety as a fan, that's cool to hear, though. I mean,
oh, for sure.
Coaches don't have that same experience as all the fans that follow him. So that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, that's real.
You enjoyed watching any teams more than others? Has there been, or I guess maybe rephrase that, has there been a team that's been on TV the last few weeks that you've watched that have been like, man, that team has got a chance this year?
I think Texas has got a good basketball team. I think they got a lot of pieces, and I'm interested to see how they do. Shaka Smart obviously is a really good coach, and I got a buddy that's on their staff just recently, and so I'm more invested in watching them play. And watching Villanova's always enlightened me because of how fundamental they are, and the old school approach, and I enjoy watching them play because of that. And I normally don't watch like Power 5 basketball that much. Like, I just don't. I watched some of Baylor, and wow, they're really, really good. I mean, they got all the pieces, and they got a lot of talent, and they seem to like each other. And but again, I usually watch teams we're going to play, or our level, ESPN3 type games, to be honest with you, more than those the big Power 5 games.
Coach, first of all, I want to say I appreciate the Texas shout out as a UT alum. Thank you for that. I'm sorry to backtrack a little bit, but just so I can get a sense of the testing timeline, did that second positive come from Tuesday's tests from last week?
Again, the days are muddled. It was the round of testing that we had when we returned from California.
Okay.
So again, don't hold me to it, but I think that was probably the date. For me, it doesn't really, it matters on, the protocol of isolation, et cetera, from that particular day of the test. But I would say that's probably correct from that round of testing, yes. But I'd have to go back and double check for clarity on it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
This morning.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, guys, you bet.